On the topic, okay, all right. On the topic of documentaries,
Yep.
Yeah, there we go. Now we're getting into it. Did you see this one?
Which one is it?
This is GWAR.
Oh no, I haven't seen it.
Oh, well, we were talking about this earlier. This is where they talked about a director coming in from Canada to shoot the film and then having a mental breakdown and leaving. And then the way they word it is we were basically left to pick up the scraps afterward. But you finished the job, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, stories can get distorted through decades, obviously. No, what happened was we had pitched the band on doing the film, which they agreed to. And I was supposed to direct GWAR, which is going to be the video for MTV, I mean, I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to talk shit about anybody, but the person who was supposed to direct the bulk of the film, when I showed up, the producer and that person went in a month in advance down to hang out with GWAR at the Slate Pit. And when I showed up, basically nothing had been accomplished, and the band was kind of freaking out. And so they sort of took me aside and said, "Hey, you know, we awarded you guys this gig based on you, not on anybody else. And if you want to take over, we're 100% behind you." And they were cool about it, right? So we tried to kind of like support this other person to some degree, and it didn't work out in very short order, so I just took over. I got along great with the band, and they were amazing, and it was, I lived in the Slate Pit for a month and shot the film. Then a small bunch of us came back to Vancouver, including Hunter Jackson, and who was a really good friend, and I still am in touch with Hunter. He was Techno Destructo.
Yep.
And yeah, so we holed up for a month. It was over Christmas, I think, because the facility I was working in was basically shut down for the holidays, and brought our sleeping bags and we're like sleeping on the floor of the studio, and we finished the film here in Vancouver.
Well, in the documentary, Dirks was definitely more forgiving than Hunter in regards to the situation with the director. I mean, Dirks had said, you know, this is a director put between Hunter and Dave Brockie, and he's like, that's the worst position you could be, is telling these two people what to do. I was wondering, did you experience any static? Or?
No, not at all.
Oh, no, what?
No, Dave was like super supportive.
Okay.
Yeah, no, everybody was. I mean, they're like, GWAR is, you know, I mean, the original version of GWAR that I worked with, were a bunch of art students, you know, and they were all like not only super creative, but, you know, amazing fine artists, and also, you know, they could construct anything, you know, and the Slate Pit was just like this, it was super DIY for sure, but I mean, but it was amazing, you know, what they could put together and make work, and you think, you know, like all the animatronics and all the stuff that we did for that film, incredible engineering, you know, and no, we were like joined at the hip. It was a great experience on that level. Everybody just wanted to try to make something cool. We knew that we were doing it like a DIY fashion, and it was not going to be like Hollywood by any stretch. But we were also, you know, and we had Gibby Haynes from the Butthole Surfers in the film as well, who was a maniac, and it was, you know, it was just a really lit time in terms of personalities and whatnot. But no, I had like 100% support from those guys. Never had a problem with them. They were amazing on set to work with. Dave was, you know, he's a big personality for sure, but he was a sweetheart.
How does the film stand with you today?
I think it's hilarious. You know, I mean, it is like, I mean, I'm not going to put it on my demo reel. My favorite part of this, was after the fact when we got nominated for Grammy, and my mom found out, and she's like, "Oh, well, can you send us a copy of the film? We really want to see it." And I said, "Mom, if you watch this film, you will disown me as your son." And to her credit, she just said, "Okay."
John Waters, it's rated NP, no parents. That's what he said about Pink Flamingos.
Yeah. The producer of Phallus, Dean English, showed it to his parents, and his mom cried. I was like, "Why did you do that?"
Now, on the topic of disownal, Most directors, when they attach a pseudonym to their work, it's to disown the work. But you don't sound like that was the intention at all.
No, we just thought it was. I mean, GWAR was so. The other director was Judas Bullhorn.
Yeah,
which was actually really good.
And Distortion Wells was mine, and our cinematographer Adam Slawinski, who was taught me a lot about cinematography and in general at that point in my career. Shot most of my stuff before I started shooting. I was always into doing like crazy angles, and so he decided to call me Distortion Wells. It was my nickname, so when the film happened, we decided it would be funnier to use. I wasn't worried about the association. I'd already been doing crazy shit with Skinny Puppy and all that stuff, so it's like it's not like I'm worried about people associating like something that's perverse or whatever from GWAR with me or anything like that.
Okay, no, I was just curious because and then I wondered, being Grammy nominated, did you regret not attaching your name to it?
No, because I mean, I still am. When I put out my CV or whatever, I mentioned that I have a Grammy nomination. That's it was.
You just don't show what for.
No, I do actually. I don't care. It's like that film is just one of those things that it's so bad it's good kind of thing.
Oh, totally.
And we knew that. Like it wasn't lost on us. It's especially with the the limited budget and the technology that we had to work with. I knew what it was going to look like, and considering the special the effects and everything that we did, like Have You Seen Me, for instance. That stuff was done before any of the desktop stuff that that allows you to do that stuff easily now existed. I did that all with videotape, which was crazy. Like I'd be running like 5 tape machines simultaneously, to make that stuff happen, and it was fun. And we GWAR never took themselves seriously in that regard. Even though that album to me is like a really serious record, I think it's great. America Must Be Destroyed is incredible.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah, and I mean it was there's so many stories from that shoot. I mean it's and it was just it was just I remember when we were shooting Have You Seen Me, and Gibby comes up to me and says, like, do you want me to stick to the script? Because we had a script and whatnot, and I was like, no, actually, I just kind of want you to riff on it, and that's what he walks out on set, and at the beginning of that video, and he's like, Sleazy, these children, they are giving me a monumental erection, and we're all just like losing it behind the camera. But are they going to be animated enough for my shoot? And that was like not in the script. And then and we called cut on that, and then one of the slaves from the slave pit comes up with this giant fucking penis on it, and he's like totally serious. He goes, "Hey Will, is this the part where I come in the cereal bowl?" And like I don't think I'd slept for 3 days at that point, and I'm like through the script, I'm like, no, that's in about 20 minutes. That was kind of the nature of the shoot. And then there was like this moment when we were shooting Danielle's scene where she transforms into the into the snake at the end, mm-hmm. And this guy is body painting her, and at some point she's I can tell she's starting to have trouble, right? And it's getting worse. And I turn to the guy and I'm like, "Are you using like body paint or are you using real paint?" And he's like, "Oh no, it's real paint." And at this point, she's almost covered. And I'm like, are you in your mind? Because that's completely toxic, right? And then she starts passing out. And she's naked at this point, and it's cold. And so I open the door to the slave pit, and I carry her outside, throw her on the ground, get a bar of soap, and a hose with cold water, and I scrub all this paint off her, and take her inside, and she was like delirious at that point.
Isn't that what happened in Goldfinger?
Yeah.
Right? James Bond, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
get us together, boys.
Yeah, I know. It was like I had no idea,
and it was just that moment where, so that happened, and then I mean, there's so many stories from that shoot, and we didn't sleep much. There was I think 2 stretches where I didn't sleep for 3 days at a time, because like I said, no pre-production had been done, so I'd be at night after we finished shooting for 12 hours. I'd be like, writing up the scenes and scripts and shots for the next day and whatnot, and there was one moment where Gibby almost started a huge gunfight in a bar downtown in Richmond, there was there was this fan that used to send greeting cards to GWAR, and the back of the card would be a sheet of acid.
They say in the documentary they talk about a super fan that would send bottles of liquid LSD.
Yeah, but he would they would be blotters, right?
So the last night, and again, I had been up for 3 days straight, and I went over to Liz was the manager at the time, her name, and I went over to Liz's place, and we were going to have like a rap party at a bar nearby, and I was just so exhausted, and I laid down on her floor and immediately fell asleep. And I woke up and there was 2 pieces of pizza on my chest and a couple tabs of acid. So I ate the pizza and then took the acid. And I went to this after party and everybody was on acid. And it was the fucking weirdest thing ever. It was just, and it was weird because I was like, it was so compressed. I'd been working with these people for a month basically, and it just had been total work, but I really didn't have that much time to other than just sort of bond due to the fact that we were working together to really get to know them. And it was just all this emotional outpouring that happened afterwards. And while you're tripping, and I was like, I'm out of here.
So you left the rap party?
I left the rap party. I'm walking down the street in Richmond, Virginia,
and I see this party happening in this house. So I just wander in, and there's Confederate flags everywhere, and it was just like this complete, for lack of a better term, white trash party, I guess. And I was, just tripping balls at that point. And then I walked out of there, went back to Liz's place, and sat on the porch and just like kind of listened to the sounds of Richmond at night. And that was my last moments in Richmond, Virginia, until I met up with them to do Saddam A Go-Go, which I think was a few years later.
Yeah, 94.
Yeah.
Would that have been for Ragnarok, the album?
I don't even remember what album it was, honestly.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it was there was so many interesting experience. I mean, I'd have to really sit down and write the whole thing out, honestly. It was just one thing after another, and
it was.
Were you ever approached when this documentary was being made?
No.
No. Were you put off by that at all when you saw
I didn't even know there was a
coming
documentary made. So, no.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You just found it now when I showed it to you?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Holy shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you go then.
Yeah.
I
mean,
are you pissed off now?
No, I'm not pissed.
I don't need any notoriety in my work. I mean, it's like, to me, like the thing that is important is the adventures. In the world of creativity and whatnot, it's things happen in like little bubbles, and I've been really, for lack of a better word, blessed to experience like all this really amazing stuff. Not just in music, but also in the world of cinema as well, and traveling around the world, shooting, all kinds of stuff. And I mean, that's the jazz for me. I don't care about like what other people think, or or being notorious, or having like any sort of stature or anything like that based on that.
I just thought in this regard, it's all about, like, a documentary is meant to be informative, and you're somebody with information that nobody else would have as the director of the film. You know, that's what I was saying more so than I didn't get my comeuppance. Is
right.
You have information that is viable to a documentary.
Yeah, but I mean, it's there's that's just a documentary is made by a person generally, or a group of people, and they have a perspective, and they're going to mold a story to be what they want it to be, and you just never know. I mean, it's like that's a long time ago that I made that film, so maybe they don't even know about my involvement in that regard. So yeah, whatever. I don't care. It's like I'm on to other things.
Yeah, that's totally fair. Okay, with that film, Metal Blade says GWAR have the rights to it, and GWAR have said that Metal Blade has the rights to it. Do you have any clarification on this topic?
Mm-mm.
No, eh?
Mike Faley was the guy for Metal Blade. That was, I think he was the owner of Metal Blade, or the head honcho at the time. I don't know where that ownership lands.
I also read on Wikipedia that you were never paid for your work on that film?
I mean, we basically used the entire budget to make the film, so I can't remember. I probably made a little bit of money, or I just, like, my expenses were paid. I think that was really what it was. So I didn't pay for my plane tickets or anything like that, and whatnot. But no, I don't think I ever made any money. In fact, I had to really get after Mike Faley to get the last 10 grand that was owed to the post-production facility for that film, which is not uncommon in the music business. But he paid it, and it was fine in the end. And but no, I don't think I really made any money from it. I wasn't really looking to make money from it.
Because I know that the DVD itself has been out of print forever, and they cite that not knowing who owns the rights to it is the reason why.
Yeah.
But it was re-released when they remastered what you brought up earlier, along with this with Tour de Scum.
Okay.
Did you see anything from that? I think that was 2015, so that's much more recent.
No. I mean, I have the original master.
09, sorry.
Yeah, which is on a tape format that would be almost impossible to recover. You'd have to buy a machine, and it's a D2, it's a composite digital format that doesn't exist anymore. But yeah, so I still hold the original master for the project.
So you're gonna undercut them with a 4K scan and put that out?
Well, I could. I mean, it's with the AI technology that's out there right now, you can take standard definition films and make them high def without any loss in resolution.
Yeah, some of the old, some 4K scans of old films you see are just gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's wild, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm wondering, I worded it this way. You would think after all the complications, just due to everything they have said about the making of film, but you've made it sound like once you got the reins, it was very smooth sailing from there.
Well, I wouldn't say smooth sailing. I mean, it was a lot of work.
Yeah.
I mean, it was...
But it wasn't combative like they said it was with the previous...
Well, no, it was with him. Yeah, I mean, they were...
For you, it wasn't.
No, not at all. I mean, once I took over, everything was fine.
And it was very much a collaborative effort. Everybody was in 100%. So it was, there was no problems, other than the fact that we were just, working night and day, literally. Like the slave pit, like the day that we wrapped, after I scrubbed Danielle, Slime Master, of all that paint, and had her in a blanket in the slave pit, I looked around and, I was delirious because I'd been up for 3 days. And the whole place was just like rubble, because all the sets and everything, with GWAR, we had destroyed everything that was built, like literally. And there was old food and stuff, it was just like, ugh. It was hilarious. It was kind of beautiful, actually.
So you knew what you were in for when you went back 2 years later to do Saddam A Go-Go.
Yeah.
That was just a music video, not a feature film.
Yes.
Was that... I imagine that would have been a much easier shoot.
It was, and it was super fun because I went on tour with them for a little bit, right? And we shot a couple live shows, and and it was just fun being on. I was literally on stage with the camera. I probably got knocked on my ass more than once. And Danielle's a classic because she's just such a crazy person in the best kind of way. I love her, but there was a couple moments where we were shooting at Hammerjacks in Hammerjacks in what's that really violent city that's in the east of America where The Wire was made?
Chicago?
No, not Chicago. No. Hammerjacks. Baltimore.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to start over. So we were shooting at Hammerjacks in Baltimore, which is in a pretty rough neighborhood. And there was, Danielle had her pussy thing that would shoot blood all over the audience.
Yeah.
And when we had 2 camera positions for that particular shoot, I did some of the stuff I did on stage, and then at different shows I would go to like get wide shots of the show and whatnot. And I was shooting on 16mm. We had 2 16mm cameras and SR2s, and I said to, knowing her at this point as well as I did it, I said, Danielle, I'm going to be up on that podium, and I know what you're going to do, but don't do it because you're going to wreck the camera. Because that thing that she had with the compressor on it would shoot a long ways, right?
Yeah.
And so classic, she just hikes up her leg and fucking nails me. And then, she spits fire during the show as well, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm on stage this time, and I was like, yeah, it's cool. Just can you spit it just a little off to the left? Right over my head. Anyways.
You know, I'm sure lots of photographers that have shot GWAR shows have taken some mishaps over the years. It's a lot of liquid going around.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I was getting waterboarded for half the show last night.
No, I love it. It's super fun, and it was really like being on stage handheld. And I did this one shot where I brought on that shoot a gentleman named Jolly Roger, who was one of our tour guides from Skinny Puppy. And Jolly's almost 7 feet tall, and he's this huge indigenous guy who's like Vietnam veteran, like just like a fucking powerhouse. Like people like just wilt in fear when they see him. He's a total sweetheart. And so I'm like, Jolly, I want to go into the mosh pit. He's like, with the camera. He's like, so he like grabs me and literally picks me up with a 16mm camera and walks me in, and we went right through the mosh pit. And so any of the mosh pit shots you see are actually
With this,
You're being carried.
I'm being carried by this giant man.
That's awesome.
and yeah, no, that was a fun shoot. It was yeah, it was easy comparatively. Yeah.
To wrap up the GWAR things, are there any other final remarks you have about your time with GWAR?
Well, the Grammys was really fun. I got a call from Liz a year, I think, after we had delivered Phallus, and Liz calls me up and said, "Hey, we got nominated for a Grammy." And this is exactly how the conversation went down. I was like, "Fuck off, Liz."
And she's like, no, I'm serious, and I'm sending you the tickets. I was like, okay, I'll believe that when I see it. And that was the end of the conversation.
And then a few days later, the ticket showed. And so yeah, my girlfriend and I jumped in the car. I went down and stayed with the Ogre, and then we went to the Grammys, it was a really interesting experience. You know, I almost didn't go to the show because I was like, do I really want to go to like a big award show kind of thing? But I'm glad I went. And our DP Adam and producer came down as well, and we all went together, and I met Weird Al Yankovic that night.
Okay. Yeah.
And he was one of the people that nominated us.
Well, he's in the documentary. He's a GWAR fan.
Yeah.
So that was funny. But we met a lot of people that night, and it was I mean, the show was kind of amazing, and there was I think Michael Jackson and Janet Jackson were. That was the Grammys where he was on stage, you know, talking about how everybody hated him and all this kind of stuff, and who else played? I think the Chili Peppers played, oh God, who else? There was a bunch of people. It was just, yeah, we just met. It was just a weird thing, all of a sudden being thrust into the Hollywood mainstream, and just the way that we were dressed and everything. Everybody was treating us like we were, you know, rock stars or whatever. And
well, they showed up in costume, and then were told get out and come back with suits on.
Yeah. No, the president of the Grammys had a problem with GWAR, and it was funny because I was dressed in a fairly, you know, I like had my head. Actually, there's a story from Phallus. So the producer, we had run out of film at one point, and I was like, dude, I'll pay for it. Let's just get another roll of film because we need to at least finish the scene. And he said, if you shave your head, because I had like long hair like you do at that time, and he said, if you shave your head, I'll get you another roll of film. And Hunter shows up immediately.
with you know.
Oh yeah.
He's like, I'm going to shave your head.
It's
like,
going down.
Yeah. I said, okay. So he gave me a traditional Chinese haircut, like, you know, old school. Like, so my head was shaved back to here, and I had my hair down on my ass, and I really liked it, so I kept it.
And yeah, I went to the Grammys, and my girlfriend at the time had made me these crushed blue velvet pants. I had Doc Martens up to my knees and this really old vintage tux on. And we're walking up the steps of the shrine, and I get a tap on my back, and I turn around, and there's this woman with a whole bunch of bodyguards, and she says, I just want to tell you I love what you're wearing. And I said, oh, thanks. And I turn around, and everybody in my crew is like, and I was like, what? And they're like, that was Carole King.
Oh wow.
and that just kept happening all night, you know, and it was really fun. It was a really fun experience.
In the doc, Brad, the drummer, he talks about hitting on Shaka Khan in costume before her security grabbed him and ousted him away. And then they all said, it turned out that the Grammy ceremony was kind of lame, but the parties afterward were
fun.
pretty crazy.
Yeah.
But there was no stories about those parties afterward.
Well, I went to the main party that was at the Biltmore Hotel, and they had Woody Herman's big band in one room, and there was like a bunch of different artists and famous chefs that were doing like food and stuff like that. So it was like each room had a theme. And I think that the band didn't go to that party. I think they went to the label party or something, one of the other parties. So I actually don't know what went down with that. Yeah. I mean, we just had a really nice time, and it was, but the president of the Grammys came up to me at one point because everybody was, the way that my girlfriend and I were dressed was a little more extreme than anybody else in the place. And so we kept getting like paparazzi taking our pictures, and it was just constant.
Oh, okay.
So people were like, "Ooh, who are they?" And so all these people were asking us. And the president of the Grammys came up, and he gave me a Grammy pin, which I think is right there. And he said, "Oh, who are you with?" I said, "Oh, I'm with GWAR." And then he was like, "Oh."
Let me take that back.
No, you take it back. But anyways,
And there was a moment I was chatting with this really lovely young English girl, and my girlfriend was off hobnobbing with some other stars or whatever, and so we're having this great conversation, and her dad walks into the conversation and introduces himself. He says, "Hello, my name's Patrick." It was Patrick Stewart.
Oh, okay.
And we all ended up having a great conversation. It was just a fun night.